You're watching ABC-7, home of Eyewitness News, the news leader. The edition of ABC-7 Eyewitness News which follows aired earlier this evening and was recorded for rebroadcast at this time. This is the news leader, ABC-7 Eyewitness News.
One of New York's finest dies battling a warehouse fire tonight. New information about this fallen hero. Parts of our area still flooded, and now another nasty rainstorm is headed our way. Sam Champion has the AccuWeather details. And not for kids. A local lawmaker wants to take toy guns off store shelves permanently. And good evening to you. I'm Liz Cho.
And I'm Bill Ritter. We begin with a young firefighter killed in action. It happened in Upper Manhattan, a huge fire inside a mattress warehouse. That firefighter, on a search and rescue mission inside, became separated from his colleagues, and he collapsed. That firefighter, 30-year-old Thomas Brick, he is the second New York City firefighter killed on the job since 9/11. Jeff Pegues with the story. He is in Inwood for us tonight. Jeffrey?
Bill, the fire is finally out tonight, but the damage has already been done. Take a look behind me. Firefighters, with the help of a beam of light, are getting a closer look at this mattress warehouse that this afternoon became an inferno and claimed a firefighter's life. Late into the night, firefighters worked to put out any smoldering pockets of a fire that had been burning since midday. It was also a fire that claimed the life of a New York City firefighter. Tonight, friends in the Auburndale section of Queens say 30-year-old Thomas Brick died doing what he loved.
He was a hero before today, but unfortunately, things like this happen, and we all lost a great guy. He's a great friend.
At the firehouse where the 2-year veteran worked, the flag is at half-staff. Candles burn as those who knew him comfort each other.
There's nothing I can say that will bring back this brave young man. But when you go to bed tonight, remember you are safer because of him and because of many others like him.
Brick was on the front lines of a fire with billowing thick smoke and flames.
I saw flames coming up, like really, really bad. It's really, really uncontrollable flames.
The 4-alarm blaze injured 3 other firefighters who were also trying to save homes and businesses like that of Domingo Perez.
Today is a very bad day for everybody, even for the fire department. They lost 1 man, and that's sad. That's more important than anything else we lose here, because that's a human life.
As Ladder 36 returned to the firehouse without Thomas Brick, those who worked alongside him were said to be distraught, unable to put into words their feelings as they prepare to bury one of New York's bravest. Thomas Brick leaves behind 2 children and a reputation for bravery. He was recently honored for a fire rescue. Meanwhile, the fire that claimed his life tonight remains under the investigation. We're live in Inwood. I'm Jeff Pegues, ABC-7 Eyewitness News.
So tragic. Jeffrey, thank you. Turning now to the weather, and another nasty round of it is headed our way, but this time it's not snow, it is heavy rain. That is increasing fears of flooding in places that are already washed out, like Wayne, New Jersey. Residents there have been trying to dry out since last Friday, and now a flood watch has been issued for tomorrow and tomorrow night. With more on how much we can expect to get, Sam is at the wall with the very latest. Sam?
And Liz, it does look like we will see some flooding in the area. Here's the line of rain moving to the east right now. I'm going to loop it through twice so you get the general idea that that's the start point. Here's the end. But one of the things, we're not just looking at this line moving east. There's a little bulge. You can see the wider spot right here through Kentucky and Tennessee. That's the second low, the impulsive low pressure that we think will be on the Carolina coastline tomorrow. That becomes our coastal storm system, making a move and pushing some rain in our direction. Some light showers in by 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. The heavier rain waits until noon, though, and it's a soaking afternoon with an inch and a half of rain. Some computer forecast models are even trying to expand that a bit, up to 2 inches of rain. So we really do believe there will be some flooding going on in this area. That's why that flood watch is in effect for the entire region Wednesday and Wednesday night. Now, the heaviest rainfall target will probably be a bit to our north, But again, with this coastal system, it'll be an awful lot of wind and rain thrown back in our direction. The freezing mix line is going to be well inland, but as the low pulls away Wednesday night, some of this moisture could get caught up in the cold air wrapping behind it, and this system could end as a little wet snow shower through the area. Now, we'll time it in, time it out, and let you know what the totals are, and then the forecast beyond when we come back in regular weather in just a minute. Bill?
All right, Sam, we'll see you then. New York subway operators tonight under fire for cutbacks, specifically cutting elevator operators that shuttle passengers down to the subway from the street. And that's especially important for folks in Washington Heights, where that drop is 12 stories below ground. Safety is one important issue. Nina Pineda with the story. She is in Washington Heights for us tonight. Nina?
And Bill, just hours after the Transit Authority approved their cuts for next year, last night a man was stabbed downstairs in the stomach, and some say he would have bled to death if it wasn't for the elevator operator. People here say that crazy things happen 12 stories below the surface. They're afraid without the operators, they'll be in danger. The vibrant neighborhood of Washington Heights is one of the city's busiest, noisiest areas. But below the surface, while the subway platforms can be desolate, commuters are always near someone in charge. Hi. Even if it's only for a 23-second elevator ride 12 stories down to the train, there is an MTA operator on board, often doing much more than playing soothing gospel.
I'm just here, and that, I think that it comforts people.
Comforts and saves lives. Last night, a fight on the platform at the 181st Street station. A man, stabbed, stumbled into Cleveland Manley's elevator.
The second guy, the one that got stabbed, he came in later. He got stabbed in the stomach. And I got him in the elevator, took him upstairs, set him right over here in the chair, and told him to compress his stomach to keep the blood from flowing out.
Manley then called 911 and is credited with saving the man's life.
And you can see how crowded and how dangerous this could be at rush hour, but you can also see how lonely and dangerous this can be at night.
The state senator and other legislators rallied to save 22 elevator operator jobs the MTA is planning to cut at 5 subway stations. The city transit proposed budget contains $46 million in cuts. A grassroots group named Elevate the Heights vows to fight the cuts, which they feel put riders in danger.
We feel that this is absolutely a quality of life issue, and we're looking for the mayor to get on board with this.
And without multiple operators, many riders say they'll be afraid to get on board.
Safer, because there's crazy people down there, and if they're there, for me, it's safer.
The Transit Authority contends that at least one operator will be downstairs 24 hours a day, and a sign will tell people which elevator to get on. The unmanned elevators, they say, will have a call box for emergency help. The board votes on these cuts on Thursday. That's usually a formality, but we expect plenty of protesters. We're live in Washington Heights tonight. I'm Nina Pineda, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
All right, Nina, thank you. 6 people face charges tonight accused of bilking the MTA out of millions of dollars. The Manhattan District Attorney announcing a 116-count indictment against 1 current and 2 former MTA employees, as well as 3 owners of a plumbing company. The indictment claims the MTA paid that company $18 million for renovation work since 1994. The company allegedly overbilled the agency. The money was then spent largely on personal luxuries such as jewelry and a mansion in New Jersey.
New York police making an arrest tonight in the death of a woman found burned inside a dumpster. The family of 33-year-old Edna Figueroa believes it was her remains that were found last week in the Douglaston section of Queens. Today, police arrested her ex-boyfriend, John Medina, charged him with murder and arson. This case remains a mystery, though. Cops admit they don't have a motive, and the body has yet to be positively identified by the medical examiner.
President Bush says he wants Saddam Hussein to pay the ultimate price. More of his exclusive ABC News interview when Eyewitness News returns in 60 seconds.
Something of a diplomatic victory tonight for President Bush. France and Germany, 2 of the strongest opponents of the war in Iraq, agreeing to help cut Baghdad's huge debt. Meanwhile, tonight, in his first interview since the capture of Saddam Hussein, the president, interviewed by Diane Sawyer at the White House this afternoon, Iraq and Saddam were the headlines.
Will you be disappointed?
I think he ought to receive the ultimate penalty, and for what he's done to his people. I mean, he is a torturer, a murderer. They had rape rooms. This is a disgusting tyrant. who deserves justice, the ultimate justice. But that will be decided not by the President of the United States, but by the citizens of Iraq.
And that, of course, puts Mr. Bush squarely at odds with the United Nations and many European countries that oppose the death penalty for Hussein. As for how the former Iraqi president will be treated, Mr. Bush insisting he will not be abused.
I have no idea how they're going to interrogate. I do know that this country doesn't torture.
And it's all right if they use the other means.
I have no idea what they're going to do, but we do not torture.
The president was pressed about the confident claims of his administration that Iraq did have weapons of mass destruction. So far, none have been found.
What's the difference?
Well,
the possibility that he could acquire weapons, if he were to acquire weapons, he would be the danger. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. A gathering threat after 9/11 is a threat that needed to be dealt with.
Sawyer also asked the president about Osama bin Laden.
Bin Laden's on the run. I mean, he's as I like to say, certainly not leading any parades these days. And, you know, he's probably in a hole somewhere, hiding from justice. We'll get him.
As for who will be in charge of interrogating Saddam Hussein, the Pentagon announcing today that that task will fall to the CIA.
Well, don't be alarmed if you hear or see an airplane flying at a low altitude over Manhattan tonight. The Air Force will be conducting a series of flights in and around Ground Zero for map imaging. The flights will begin overnight, and the plane at an altitude of 4,000 feet. The aircraft will fly from Ground Zero to Central Park at 110th Street in order for it to turn around. Bill?
When we come back, Sam Champion makes a return appearance, and so does the rain. His AccuWeather forecast straight ahead. Plus, are toy guns no longer child's play? Tonight, the local push to ban them. That story is next.
Well, they may be fake, but they can look very real and be very dangerous. And now one local lawmaker is proposing legislation to ban the sales of all realistic-looking toy guns at a time when buying them is easier than ever. Lori Stokes has the story.
You hear it time and again. March 2000, 2 teens shot dead in Bushwick by undercover cops while waving these toy guns. August 1998, a 16-year-old shot by police in Brooklyn after refusing to drop this water gun. And September 1994, 13-year-old Nicholas Hayward also shot dead in Brooklyn by a housing officer who mistook the boy's toy gun for a real weapon.
In the dark, you know, a police officer looking at this youngster holding this weapon, you know, let's face it, I mean, that's a very dangerous kind of thing.
Congressman Ed Towns represents Brooklyn, where so many of these tragic accidents have occurred. He's introduced national legislation to ban the sale of all realistic toy guns. Lieutenant Eric Adams supports his efforts.
No police officer in that quick second of thinking or responding can sit down and conduct a thorough interview to determine if a gun is a toy or if it's a real gun.
New York City law requires toy guns be sold brightly colored with orange caps. But many kids just take off the cap and paint them black to look like the real thing.
This gun was like a 9mm, something standard issue that police officers carry, very popular on the street. This one looked like a .380 handgun.
Just last week, a 12-year-old student brought this toy gun to his Harlem school, causing an uproar. And in Washington, several weeks ago, the Capitol building was shut down for hours after someone brought in a fake gun. While many national retailers and toy stores are no longer selling them here in New York, you can still find them in some bodegas and smaller-run neighborhood shops.
But Congressman Towns says he won't rest until these realistic-looking toy guns are off of shelves and off of the street. And this Friday, he'll hold his annual toy turn-in at Transit Tech High School, where children will be given an educational toy in exchange for one he says can often teach a very painful and deadly lesson. Lori Stokes, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Good idea.
Yeah, very good idea.
In our world, it's a dangerous problem.
You betcha.
Definitely. Lots of weather making news again.
Lots of it, and there will be some areas that have problems with flooding. Do you know we're almost 9 inches above normal in rainfall so far this year, and we've got another inch to an inch and a half coming during the day into the evening hours tomorrow. Walk over to the wall. We'll talk about exactly where the trouble spots are. And we are under a flood watch tomorrow into tomorrow night. Currently, we've got dry skies, and we don't really expect until early tomorrow morning for some moisture to kind of sneak its way in from the south. The idea is to drag this low. It becomes a coastal low right up the coastline again, nor'easter, but this time it's got mild ocean air to work with, so it's a rain event along the coast. Well inland, there's going to be a line of snow mixed with rain and sleet. Now, as the low pulls past us tomorrow night, it's possible that we get caught with some of that, and that could end everything as a little snow shower across the area, with some accumulating extreme northwestern areas. We'll talk a bit more about that tomorrow when we watch the storm put itself together. 46 degrees, relative humidity, actually right now at about 91%. Winds are south at about 8 to 16 miles per hour. 48 degrees, the top number on the day. Looking at about 28, 30 degrees in northern areas, anywhere from 42 to 44 right through the middle of the region. That's your right now number. Wake-up temperatures about 40 degrees, 33 toward the island. Inland areas at 32 degrees. Northern numbers 25, 26 degrees at its coolest. Here's the line of rain moving in from the west. The other thing you'll notice is there's a low attached to the top end of the front. As this drives into Canada, we're not concerned about this storm system for us, even with that snow there. It takes it with it to the north. This is the front, and there's a little bulge in it in Kentucky and Tennessee. That's where the secondary low takes place and then puts itself on the Carolina shore early tomorrow morning. Inch and a half of rain in general across the area. Some forecast models, as we said at the top of the show, extended up to 2 inches of rain by slowing things down a bit to get out of here. Right now, we're going to stick with that inch and a half. It's kind of enough. Flood watch for the day tomorrow in all areas. It's extended into the 5 boroughs. And actually, it's Nassau.